You know that feeling of emptiness that you get after finishing a really good show where you're just sad that the journey is over? In terms of video games, there are very few that are able to invoke this feeling in me through their stories. But as you can probably tell from the title of this video, there is one that is not just the exception, but the standard when it comes to overloading my amygdala. And that game is NieR Automata, which is very difficult to pronounce for some reason. This game was developed by the great minds behind smash hits such as Girl Boss May Cry and Metal Gear Slicing Without Repentance, and was directed by famous singer Yoko Ono. What's that? Wrong person? Okay, give me. It's kind of hard to hear you. In this game, we follow the story of 3 androids and their journey to reclaim Earth from alien machines while also styling on them as hard as possible. Featuring a wide variety of gameplay genres, it was also made to destroy any human capable of emotions. This video will be a retrospective of my experience with the game, but I strongly believe that the best way to consume this work of art is to just, play it. So just know that if you haven't, I may be robbing you of some potentially epic gamer experiences. But with all that out of the way, let me now show you why I think this game is absolutely fantastic. So we begin the game and, oh, tricked you, it's Toho and we're both Flog Pyros. The first thing you should know about NieR Tomato is that unlike the other Platinum games, its main focus isn't purely the hack and slash combat. But before we can dive deeper into game design, we first need to experience, more than 15 seconds of the game. Therefore, we will return to this topic at a more appropriate time. So we are briefly introduced to the members of our squadron before they proceed to immediately get gunned down, leaving you to do everything by yourself like it's a university project. Our first mission is to find and destroy Metal Gear, and after escaping from Shooty McPaddywagon Purgatory, we eventually reach land and are introduced to the real combat of the game. To keep things short, the game allows you to mix and match 2 pairs out of 4 possible weapon types, and each permutation allows you to perform different moves and combos. On the surface, the execution is pretty simple, kind of like playing as Joryu from the Joryu ga Gotoku series where he fights his rival, Joro Chachima. But if you're willing to invest time in it, the game system is actually pretty deep and has many hidden tricks you can perform. Not to mention, there's also a wide range of abilities you can equip to further complement your playstyle. My personal favorite one is fucking stone free. The only complaint I have with the combat is that the game releases your lock-on if it thinks you held down L2 for too long, which is totally cool and doesn't make my fingers feel like they're doing fucking tapata. But that's enough about the combat system because it's time for us to face off against Big Wheel. This game really makes you feel like you have radioactive cum. This fight is a basic pattern recognition test primarily meant to teach you how to dodge and also about the third law of physics. This carries on until the boss kind of just gives himself a concussion. Hello, 2B. It's me, Gojo Satoru from Jujutsu Kaisen. What the fuck? Watch out for my special move, Mentaiko. So after dealing with the Sawblade Scoundrel, the game introduces us to our 2 protagonists, 2 Bees Knees and 9 Gag. The rest of the level will have us searching for the real target we were sent to destroy, which apparently wasn't the giant fucking arm we just got rid of, which is slightly concerning. Welcome to the Chinese factory. Please do not make fun of our English. As the introductory area of our adventure, the factory does a great job at conveying an important message, which is that this is a role-playing game. Again, while the action combat here is great, the game makes it very clear that this is not the main focus. The first thing you'll notice about the encounters here, including the first shooting segment, is the presentation. Instead of just the usual combat encounters, we fight our enemies from a wide range of perspectives, which the game transitions between in a very smooth and consistent way to create these cinematic set pieces that work together with the gameplay to keep you entertained. It's quite similar to what Persona 5 does with its visuals and music, where if you were to strip all of the flair away, the gameplay alone is still fun, kind of, but it's everything combined that really sells the experience of being a phantom thief and dating your teacher. The point I'm trying to make is that the combat is good, but the game doesn't let you run wild with it quite as much as its contemporaries. But even so, I'm actually having fun within the first 30 minutes of this Japanese RPG. Very impressive stuff. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to cross this very inconspicuous bridge. Oh god, they really gotta stop making these encounters so obvious.
Female detective. Opinion rejected.
Oh shit, it's the Big Wheel Duo. They only appear in this weird copy of Elden Ring I picked up in the factory. Despite there being 2 of them now, the attack patterns are just as basic as the first round, so the fight is still pretty easy, if you have a positive IQ. Do I still hear boss music? Okay, so this is the boss of the area, like, for real now. Turns out the buzzsaws were just his fucking arms, so if you thought those were something, try this guy on for a size. This may not be a difficult fight, but it's still a pretty fun one because of the spectacle. The first portion of this fight mainly involves us trimming his fingernails until NieR eventually tries to reincarnate his arm into another world, knocking himself out in the process. The good news is that we can now borrow his flight unit, but the bad news is that we have to play fucking Ikaruga again. That's okay though, because like everyone else who has watched The Matrix, NieR is an expert hacker, and with his help, we proceed to rip the machine's arm off and beat him to fucking death with it. I think I downloaded the wrong Metal Gear Rising.
HQ, I'm requesting permission to retreat from Operation SawCon.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Hello again, and welcome to the bunker. You might notice the lack of color, which I could fix, but I think you prefer that I didn't. Here, we can admire the scenery, take a short break, and receive new assignments. Do not disturb the operators. Before our next departure, we are briefly shown some lore and learned that the humans lost a war to the aliens and their machines and were forced to evacuate to the moon, which is quite surprising considering a good number of them fight like this. And also that humans made the androids, that's us, to help reclaim the planet. Speaking of which, I should probably check my email.
Click here to play a free NieR Automata's X game that makes you zerk in 16 seconds.
Okay, never mind. With our settings fully calibrated, it's time for us to go on mission number 2. This time, we'll be trekking all the way to Nevada to attend the fucking cosplay convention, so it seems that the machines are trying to imitate human culture for some reason, and I must say that apart from the lack of costume variety, they really got everything at this cosfest down to the T. Even the orgies. I hope they at least use contraceptives. My favorite contraceptive is video games. What the fuck are they doing, 2B? I think the answer is in your question. Jesus Christ. Alright, so here's the boss fight. He's just, standing there, menacingly. So in other news, today we're going to be beating a naked man to death. This boss's main gimmick is that his IQ increases as the fight goes on, which means he's pretty much combo food at the beginning, but eventually fights back and starts doing to your attacks what Hideki Kamiya does to English speakers on Twitter. This fight is pretty interesting because apart from it being fun, it's also a good way of showing you how fast the machines can be in adaptation. He's just a few missed showers away from becoming a really good Smash player. Quick, we have to stop him before he evolves any further and makes a Twitter account. I'm left with no choice but to double penetrate him. With swords. This probably isn't the last we're going to see of him and his hyperactive twin. So after making our great escape from the desert, we have to head to Freddy Fazbear's Mega PizzaPlex to investigate rumors of missing persons. And for us to get there, we have to go through the sewers like a certain other robotic protagonist. Operator, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick and the clap of my ass. So this next area is a very fun place, full of joy and love. Take part in many cool activities like the parade, the roller coaster, and destroying the fucking tank. The level is pretty short because none of the machines are actually hostile. Not even the tank I decided to kill for my own personal gain. The only real danger we face is on the roller coaster because we ride it like how V rides a motorcycle in Cyberpunk, causing security to show up to try to gun us down. I am forced to take matters into my own hands.
Hello, you're just in time for the show.
Oh, what are you performing?
Breakdancing.
So on tonight's viewing of Phantom of the Opera, we're going to be destroying the unrealistic standards society has set for women. You see, Simone is a machine that is overly obsessed with being beautiful, but in the pursuit of this beauty ended up ruining the lives of herself and the people around her. This game is getting a bit too real. Her attacks consist of a good balance of both ranged and melee, but what you really want to watch out for is when she leaps into the air. It's kind of shocking to me that the weight of someone as obsessed with beauty as her can generate enough crush force to instantly fucking kill me. But the true beauty of this fight comes from one simple detail. You see, Simone's anger stems from the fact that no one will look at her despite how beautiful she's become, and the game even makes you look away from her. Only sometimes though, because any more would be annoying. But honestly, I'd feel a lot worse about cutting her down if she wasn't making her clothes out of dead people. Maybe just order a costume off Taobao next time. So on our way out, we meet a machine who apparently knows what a war crime is. Unfortunately though, robots don't have human rights. Anyway, he thanks us for destroying the faulty member of society and offers to bring us to his village. It's here that we meet Pascal and his congregation of pacifist Undertale fans. He also explains to us that the machines here have removed themselves from the network and rejected instrumentality. So after enjoying our weekend to the fullest, the game finally opens up and allows us to take on the side quests, which unlike some other JRPGs, do not make me want to beat myself with a stick. I pretty much recommend doing every quest because they all offer a unique gameplay experience or encounter, including but not limited to racing, drug manufacturing, and following lost children. Oh god, this must be what it's like to be a Genshin player. I can't even follow her properly because I keep sliding around. But what really makes these worth doing is the narratives and the extra dialogue you get to hear between our two protagonists.
お人よし。美人だからとはいえ、サービスしすぎ。
So we learned that Pascal has actually established an alliance with the local resistance camp that I totally didn't forget to talk about, and we helped to make a delivery in exchange for his loot. It's also here that I realized that I haven't upgraded my character at all, so oh shit, it's the YouTube content chip. Remove this chip that specifically says not to do so to make the video 20% funnier. I can already feel the views coming in. So the game apparently has a bunch of joke endings you can get if you do stupid shit on purpose to mess with the story. I think now is also a pretty good time to mention that the director of this game is kind of eccentric. Anyway, we continue with our MMO protagonist experience until what the fuck?
Tell me what SawCon is! What does it mean? I just don't fucking get it!
We're just gonna deal with that real quick.
I only poo-poo farted for the good of humanity.
I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to forgetting this. In any case, next on our list of tasks is to investigate the now giant hole in the ground due to possible alien activity. Find the Albinoric woman. She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskyar ruin. I'm hanging up. We then come across this underground lair and come face to face with Nudist Beach again. Greetings, androids. My name is Adam, and this is my brother Eve. You know, like from Evangelion. I don't think that's where that's from. This place was once the base of our alien creators. Until we fucking killed them. Wait, what? They were quite uninteresting. Almost like plants, I guess you'd say. But you know what is interesting? The Mongol invasions of Japan, which took place in 1274 and 1281, which were major. So we essentially find out that the aliens were wiped out centuries ago and that the machines now want to evolve and learn to be more like humans. Big mistake. I would explain this fight, but it's more of an aggressive negotiation than anything else. You might find paying attention to the dialogue here a little bit hard. God damn it, I hate that 6p fucking jank-ass hitbox. Well, it seems that you're not willing to do the one thing that completely goes against everything you're supposed to do and sell the humans out to us, so I guess we'll be seeing you. Wait, then why did we even ask them in the first place? Dude, just shut the fuck up. Alright, so now that that's over, our next objective is to gather more info on machines outside the alien network, and Pascal kindly directs us to the local LARP community located in the forest. On our way there, we pass through the local Walgreens and stumble upon Yoko Taro's mask. This is Emile, who's from the first game, and past this point, he reveals his true identity as Emile Blart Ball Cop, and drives around the map selling random shit. And no, I cannot turn off the singing. Turns out the machines here are really into medieval RP, so I decide to get into character as well and pretend like I just quick saved in Skyrim. One dead upper-class citizen later, we finally reach the... We finally reached the castle proper. This level is very similar to my taste in women in a sense that it's mostly two-dimensional, which is a welcome change of pace. It compensates nicely for my lack of object permanence. But apart from that, it's pretty much business as usual, except for the snakes. We don't fight the snakes. Oh no, she's hot. As you can see, this fight also takes place in the 2D space, and in this battle against my weakness, it's up to us to uninstall the Killable Children mod. The thing about A2 is that she's actually an older model of 2B who defected from the Yorha force, which means she can swing like you, combo like you, and most importantly, has a dash move that you don't have. I guess the engineers just gave up. But ultimately, the fight is quite short and is mainly there to introduce her character to you, which I have no problems with at all. I need you to step on me. What you need is to be near a woman. What is up guys, welcome back to my cool combo video. Today I'm gonna record footage near Emil like a fucking dumbass and have the audio be unusable. For our next mission, we have to travel to the flooded city, which just so happens to be accessible thanks to the SawCon incident. Operator. Every level so far has been quite unique, and this one is no different because it's entirely a bullet hell sequence, which is fine. I mean, I love bullet hells like Cuphead and Undertale and fucking Breath of the Wild. Oh, and did I forget to mention the giant fucking whale? This guy makes Angels look like a fucking summer ant. So in order to defeat this enemy, we have to diligently destroy every one of his ball-like appendages and feed him a steady supply of potassium nitrate. This is where all the stuff I said earlier about presentation really matters, because the shooting gameplay by itself is a bit repetitive, but I'm the kind of person where as long as the gameplay isn't fucking annoying, I will happily appreciate everything else on display, which this encounter definitely has a lot of. Just watch out for the EMP. Where the hell is 9S? So with Mecha Moby Dick finally put down, our next order of business is to track down our missing small boy. And to do this, we enlist the help of two characters that have the unique ability of making you shit yourself if you played the first game. But for now, we managed to follow 9S's signal all the way back to the cave we explored earlier. But this time we discover that someone has been playing fucking Minecraft down here. I really hope it's not who I think it is. You know, I've been watching this show lately that humans used to like called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But I think what's truly bizarre is how you get no bitches. What are you talking about? And you might also want to know that I am currently forcing 9S to roleplay as fucking Jesus. Okay, you need to stop, like right now. Welcome to episode 50 of my Minecraft Let's Play. A man has been crucified in Lego City, and it falls to you to destroy Adam Sandler. This is my favorite fight in the entire game because it's one of the few times we get to truly go crazy with the combat system. In Phase 1, Adam adopts a more ranged approach and mostly attacks using projectiles, but he eventually just gets bored and decides to turn off creative mode. The moveset here on is quite similar to what we've seen before, with the main difference being that he actually knows what he's doing now. My man's been out here playing fucking Guilty Gear. The fight isn't terribly difficult unless you don't use items, but the fun here comes from finding your opening, after which it's just up to how good you are at the game.
If you want to see me die on camera again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
So after successfully demonetizing Adam Dahlberg and rescuing 9S, our hero 2Bean receives a request from Pascal to help with a negotiation, which we of course accept. After all, I am a calm and reasonable person. The theme for this mission is religion, and we're here to establish an alliance with the friendly neighborhood church cell.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's sermon. Please flip to Exodus 17 verse 7. I fucking hate all of you.
What is wrong with all of you? Why can't you just imitate the normal functioning humans? So here we are back at the factory, but this time we're going through the bad side, you know, where the live leaks happen, and we're once again here to free the machines from their mortal coils. See, turns out their religion was literally just death, so really we're doing them a favor. Okay, so the trick to this jump is that you gotta You gotta kind of like ride the tree a little bit and fuck. So before we can make our escape, we have to fight whatever this shit is. Fucking alloy control unit looking ass. Bro thinks he's from The Incredibles or some shit. You know, I kind of missed that really obscure feature from earlier where I could see what's happening on the screen. So we managed to escape and head back to the resistance camp to find that the machines are going fucking apeshit. Better go figure out what's going on. God fucking damn it, stop making me fight this boss. It's making me want to take a bath with a toaster. It's a good thing NieR is on his way here. I'm sure he'll be able to... Okay, I guess that works. Well, that explains a lot. For this next part of the video game, we get the Katamari Damacy NPC experience. You know what, how about we just go and find where Eve went? I don't really want to be a Nokron anymore. You know, now that my brother's dead, being human fucking sucks. Yeah, it's almost like they made robots for a reason, so could you stop this now? No? No, I think I'm gonna kill you instead. The first thing you'll notice about this fight is that I can't see shit. This is definitely me when I take a smacking off the pendulum. In this battle, Eve tries to defeat us by cosplaying Senator Armstrong, with the main difference being that his machines aren't very nano, as in, like, we can see them. And like Senator Armstrong, we cannot hurt him in this fight, because nothing we do now can compare to the emotional damage we have already done. Eve boasts a wide range of attacks in Phase 1, including forced platforming, but thankfully, just like his brother, he can be comboed and can be killed with enough hacking from NieR. And upon taking enough damage, Eve will transition into Phase 2 where he begins attacking you with ball art. But what truly makes this fight special is the fucking weight behind it. When Eve drives his fist into my face, I can really feel his anger. And throughout the entire fight, up till the final moments where 2B's motor functions are destroyed, you feel her desperation. And although the fight is mechanically pretty simple, all of this comes together to create an experience that is truly worthy of the final boss of Act 1. So while this ending plays out, I think it's a good time to talk a little bit more about our two main characters. So far, we've discussed a lot of the gameplay, but anyone who's used to killing God in their video games would know that the story matters just as much in an RPG like this. And although the initial premise of go commit genocide on these machines to save humanity and the combat system is enough to get you invested in the beginning, the main motivator, at least for me, eventually becomes the growing relationship between 2B and NieR, which is developed even further when you play through the first act again in Route B, which has some problems, but ultimately serves the purpose of letting you spend more time with the two main characters. At the start of the game, 2B is kind of just a stoic Amazonian battlebot, but seeing her slowly open up and start to care for NieR is a free source of serotonin for me. So when 2B feels sad that she has to strangulate NieR because he's corrupted, I feel sad because goddammit, they were supposed to go shopping for shirts together. And even though NieR eventually manages to survive, these two could go on any new adventure or talk about literally anything and I would be more entertained than a Victorian child on TikTok. So naturally, I was very excited to see where the game would take me for its second act, and turns out, it was going straight into a fucking car crash. So 2B is gonna get a free vacation to the Pearly Gates, and Yorha does not exist anymore. But hey, we get to play as A2, am I right? Alright, so here we are in Act 2. The gameplay is a little weird. I have to learn my rotation now? What the fuck? This isn't even the NieR raid anymore. I'm just throwing in random footage at this point. So to bring you up to speed on what's happened, we basically play through everything I just talked about again as NieR, with a few differences because it's from his point of view. And the most important thing to note from this is the reveal near the end that there are in fact no humans on the moon, because they are all in hell. Anyway, after the death of the Bible buddies, the Yorha commander decides to launch a full-scale attack onto the machines. And all seems to be going well until we're hit with an EMP attack, which causes everyone to get early onset cyberpsychosis or some shit, and also makes my screen look like this. Thankfully, half the Yorha force are only level 20, so they are powerless against me. Our heroes manage to make it back to the bunker, and they tell the commander about what's happened, but she's kind of an idiot and doesn't believe them. You two are acting pretty sus right now. I think we should eject you. Are you nuts? So right as she's about to vote us out for not doing our tasks, everyone in the room conveniently turns psycho. Wow, who could have predicted this outcome? It turns out that the machines have infected the entire force with a virus using the bunker server, and the only two people who aren't affected by it are 2B and 9S, because 9S turned off the Xiaomi auto-sync. We managed to make it up to the flight hangar, but the commander ends up being infected as well, so we have to make the trip back to Earth alone. Or I guess, technically with the rest of the bunker. Needless to say, this is the point of the game where the story comes out of your screen and puts its fucking hands around your neck, because holy shit, this is psychotic. On their way down, 2B forces 9S to split off from her and sends him somewhere safer, but she unfortunately gets infected after she lands. She then slowly but steadily walks all the way to the Walgreens to get a prescription, but gets ambushed by the homeless people outside. Fortunately enough, A2 shows up and beats the shit out of them like it's Yakuza. Left with no other option, 2B puts her memories into her sword and entrusts it to A2, telling her to take care of 9S for her, and gets A2 to mercy kill her to stop the virus from spreading. Now I want you to guess when 9S shows up.
大丈夫。ナイツ。そんな。
At this point, the game gives us the choice to play as A2 or... You have to do both, but I think I'm gonna just go with A2 first. I don't even want to play anymore. This game is like Devil May Cry, but the cry is way too big. So anyway, 2 weeks go by and A2 wakes up and decides to immediately go kill some machines because she feels like it. She also now has 2B's support unit with her, and he directs her to the nearest boss fight because this is a video game.
This pod has been tasked with providing firing support for Yorha Unit A2. I am also equipped with state-of-the-art AI technology and have over 1 million reputation on Stack Overflow.
Okay, well, what is that huge thing? Right, what was I saying again? Something about like a boss fight? What's up guys, welcome to my fucking Shadow of the Colossus speedrun. As you can see, Hegel is a very unique boss that does not look like anything we've seen before. The fight mainly involves dealing with his two modes. Bitch mode, where he flies up into the air and forces you to just run around, and gangbang mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. We're also introduced to A2's unique ability known as Berserk mode, which rapidly drains your health but allows you to simulate playing Leo in Guilty Gear. She also has the ability to taunt enemies, although 2B can do this too by just giving them a seizure. But as you can probably tell, it's kind of hard to do any of this when you're getting shot at from all 360 degrees, so we're going to opt for a more ranged approach in this fight, which is still fun, kind of. So we hold down R1 until enough balls are taken out, which then allows us to play the game. And right as we're about to win, Hegel launches an EMP attack on A2, and she gets Vietnam flashbacks about her time in a literal suicide squad and all her friends dying to blow up Pearl Harbor. Wow, I totally understand her backstory now and no longer feel the need to watch a 1-hour stage play. But for now, we managed to expel all the negative thoughts and proceed to immediately pass out onto the fucking sand. Alright, so now we gotta go replace A2's fuel filter because apparently sand can just get into it, and we head to the resistance camp to find some help.
Yeah.
So yeah, we run into Pascal as he's being assaulted on the streets, and A2 contemplates killing him too because he's a machine, but ultimately decides not to because he's innocent, and also because she'll get the joke ending if she does. This turns out to be a good decision because apparently Pascal is just the only person who knows how to make fuel filters for androids. I guess we're all just fucked without him. So with no other choice, A2 reluctantly heads over to his village.
Ah, it's the woman from before. Thank you again for rescuing me. Now then, how can I help you?
She needs a fuel filter. Jesus Christ, you act like a fucking toddler, you know that?
Before we can get our parts changed, we have to make a quick trip to the forest to get the materials Pascal needs, which is no problem at all, you know, not like I'm a wanted criminal there or anything. So we get our fuel filter, and A2 decides to stick around and help out around the village as thanks because she's cool, and we help take care of various matters such as the fucking rabid pit bull that is just in their backyard trying to eat the children. This is where we discover that despite her abrasive behavior and initial prejudice towards machines, A2 is really just a sweetheart deep down inside. We have literally gone from killing machines for fun to building a slide for them to play on, and watching A2 learn to show kindness again despite her trauma is almost heartwarming enough to make me forget about everything else that's happened so far. Great, something else this game can take away from me. I was making a joke. So while we were out running some more errands, some of the villagers randomly had a fucking Joker moment and started eating each other. A2 and Pascal managed to evacuate the survivors to the factory, but the machine network just decides to launch an entire military operation onto a literal group of children. A chaotic but insanely fun battle ensues as the game throws us into an entire mosh pit of machines. And there's also a tank, quite a few of them actually, but fortunately, Pascal is forklift certified and is willing to explode anyone who threatens his people. This is my favorite sequence in the entire game because it is just so goddamn cool. I know I've repeated my point about presentation enough times to sound like an Oblivion NPC, but this is how you make a fucking set piece. They didn't have to program in an entire Titanfall sequence, but they just did. And you know what? I fucking loved every second of it. So we come back to see that the villagers have all committed seppuku out of fear, which Pascal taught them how to feel because he thought it would protect them. This obviously sends him to the fucking Shadow Realm, and we're given the choice to either wipe Pascal's memory or just straight up kill him. I don't want to do this shit anymore. Mr. Taro, how about you make this choice instead? I just want one person in this story to be happy. Just one person. Alright, so welcome back to the cute robot game where nothing bad happens. We have to play through 9S's part now, which does not really make me feel much better. First and foremost, as a scanner unit, 9S has a different skill set from combat units like 2B and A2, which is a cool concept. In theory, your primary source of damage as 9S comes from the hacking minigame, which, as you can see, is not quite as fun as hitting people. You can choose to use your weapons instead, but he can only equip one at a time and do light attacks, so good luck trying to have fun. And if you play him the way he's meant to be played, you will probably be spending more time in this screen than the actual game. This includes boss fights as well, although the game maybe throws you a curveball and doesn't recycle the same few shooting levels. This is probably the biggest problem the game has. Root B actually has some interesting content like the exclusive side quests and missions. I just didn't sign up to play an early build of Binding of Isaac for 5 hours. It might have been better if they did something similar to V in DMC5 where he doesn't do any fighting by himself but still plays like an actual character. So anyways, while A2 was on her journey of self-discovery, 9S wakes up and decides to investigate the giant tower that now occupies the SawCon crater, and he discovers that in order to unlock it, we have to climb 3 smaller towers that will reveal the map. Nah, I'm just kidding. That will give us the keys we need to unlock the Tower of Baby. As far as the levels themselves go, they're mostly your pretty standard series of combat arenas, and we fight through waves of familiar enemies as well as the what the fuck was that? Oh, and did I forget to mention his mental state? Yeah, I think he's handling recent events pretty well, actually. Okay, we're finally at the last one. Please, I want to get off Mr. Taro's wild ride.
I am the President of the United States of America. From now onwards, you will be directly speaking to the White House.
So to obtain the final key, NieR has to defeat his old operator from Yorha who has gone mad from the virus and set up a call center here. And she's calling to issue a refund for your life. I honestly wish I could tell you more about this fight, but the only time I wasn't in the hacking screen was when I was purposely waiting for the dialogue to finish. I'm sure she has a very cool moveset, but I guess I'll never know.
Why did you do this? Why did you do this?
Okay, so I know I just killed the only other woman in your life, but I need to talk to you about 2B.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
That's the second time that's happened, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. So the funny thing about this boss is that he has as much health as a Chinese man in Yakuza, meaning I killed him in 50 seconds. You can actually choose to spare this boss, but the cutscene started while I was mid-animation, so too bad. Now that we have all three keys in hand, it's time for us to begin the finale of the game where we go up to the rooftop of the tower to engage in a shirtless fistfight. But before we do that, let's go and check on our good friend Pascal, who seems to be making a new life for himself as a merchant. I wonder what he's selling. Bruh. Moving on, with the help of our redhead friends and one of the coolest musical callbacks ever, NieR opens the way to the tower and begins his ascent. It's time to finally figure out what the hell the machines are trying to do, but first, NieR is forced to fight through an army of evil 2B clones, because there are truly just not enough bad things that happen to him in this game. We then switch over to A2, who enters the tower shortly afterwards. What's the purpose of this structure?
A2, that is a hole in the ground.
Moving past the hole in the ground that is in no way related to previous events, she stumbles across the worst library ever. They don't even have any Club Penguin books. Here she gets to play the best minigame and admire some merchandise from her own game. But most importantly, she chances upon a book about 2B's model of androids. Alright, let's see what it says. I'm going to turn into the fucking Joker. Meanwhile, NieR wakes up and finds himself a little short-handed. Luckily, one of the clones is there to give him a hand. Now armed and dangerous, he pushes onwards and encounters the low-tier girls.
You serve no purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to be in my stream sucking on my dick daily.
These two red motherfuckers are the literal embodiment of the machine network, and they reveal the truth to NieR that the entire Yorha project was just made to get androids to believe that humans were still alive. And in order to hide the truth, the bunker server was designed to have a back door that lets anyone install anything inside of it. Anything.
This is the craziest Fortnite tournament ever, and whoever wins will receive 10 years worth of Survivor's Guild. Server, teleport us to the 6th layer of hell.
So essentially, Yorha was built on a lie, and their sole purpose was to literally just die after the bunker exploded. This gameplay really do be kinda fire. Moving on from the existential dread, it's now time for my regularly scheduled dick flattening, which the boss promptly leaves after doing, not that I'm complaining. So to climb the rest of the tower, A2 decides to use the conveniently available elevator, but is unable to bypass the CAPTCHA test. This prompts the appearance of the red girls again, and we learn that they were also responsible for the death of A2's comrades in the past. But by the time we enter this boss fight, our girl boss of an android has overcome her trauma, conquered her hatred, and learned to love once more, making her the perfect opponent for these two assholes who at the same time serve as the final wall she must overcome. So it's very fitting that the way we defeat them is by not hitting them at all. Since the red girls are a digital entity, the only way for us to defeat them is with facts and logic. Dear liberals, if you ice your balls for 1 hour, you can pee out slushies. And in order to do this, we have to let them fully manifest inside A2's consciousness, because that's just how it works for some reason. This prompts the machine network to evolve even further towards its goal of imitating humanity, which, as we all know, is a big mistake. This causes the two girls to start having a political debate about whether or not they should kill A2, and they resolve their differences with the most effective way known to mankind. That's right, I'm talking about violence. After which, our job becomes very simple. So with nothing else standing in our way, we can finally... Oh, right. so here I am with a fucking Super Monkey Ball again. Very cool that I get to fight this boss 5 times. I wonder what game that reminds me of. I was supposed to be having a shirtless fist fight, not a cockless ball fight. Visual similarities aside, this technically is one of the more unique fights in the game because it constantly swaps us between our 2 protagonists, forcing us to switch up our playstyle on the fly and also react to the boss's attacks. Just make sure you watch out for his gameplay shield. I call it that because it shields you from playing the game. With the final confrontation at hand, our 2 protagonists reveal to each other the terrible truths they have learned. We've already talked about what 9S has seen, so what I really want to discuss is what A2 saw at the library, which is that 2B was actually an executioner model who was tasked to destroy 9S every time he found out about mankind's extinction. And by the time the game starts, she had already killed him 47 times. This is the most impactful reveal in the game, because while there are many other small scenes to tell you more about the machines, like how, oh, this machine you killed was actually a single mom trying to feed her 5 billion kids. This bomb drop at the end is what truly recontextualizes 2B as a character, and it's at this point that the game fully realizes the development of not just A2 and 9S, but 2B as well. Looking back on the events of Act 1 after this is like having more insight in Bloodborne, but instead of going crazy, I just feel really sad. But with 9S completely corrupted at this point, our 2 protagonists are left with no other choice but to settle things the hard way, and the game hits you with this fucking screen. I want to say from the bottom of my heart that I did not sign up for this shit. These 2 characters have had a very contrasting development over Act 2, and it might seem easier to side with A2 here at first, but it's hard not to sympathize with 9S either because you can understand how he got to this point. And when it comes down to it, both these characters are just people trying to cope with loss. They're just at different stages of that cycle. So you know what? Here's my advice. Don't make the choice at all. Uninstall the game, because maybe you can't save these characters, but you can at least save yourself from what's to come. What's up? It's me, your favorite YouTuber, back again to ruin another emotional moment of the game. As far as final bosses go, this one isn't too difficult, you know, just purely in terms of gameplay. Over on A2's corner, 9S makes use of pretty much everything you would expect, as well as a few pod abilities. And yes, this includes the fucking hacking minigame, which also turns my monitor into a CRT. But even so, his fight falls under a category that you usually can't go wrong with. After all, he is you, but sadder. And in 9S's corner, we get a nice throwback to A2's fight in the forest, but what's really interesting about this is that if you hack her enough times, you get to see an Easter egg where you literally destroy the game's pause menu. This is the coolest thing they did with the hacking, but it's also entirely possible for the fight to just end before you get to see this, so just watch it on YouTube. As for the endings, only one of them is slightly better than the other. If you choose A2, she manages to hack into 9S and save him at the cost of her own life, and she brings the tower down on herself while the pod carries 9S away. And if you choose 9S, they both fucking die, and the machines use the tower to blast off into space or some shit and find another species to copy. Which means, yes, you cannot save A2, so honestly this game fucking sucks and I'm going to go lie on the floor now.
ポット1号さんから042へストリームにノイズが混ざっているデータチェックのため一時停止を要請する
So now that everyone's fucking dead, all that's left to do is delete the remaining data from Yorha. But as the pods are carrying out this final task, they come to a realization.
私はこの結末を容認できないという結論に至った。
すべてのヨルハ機体の破壊は計画によって決定されている。データは破棄される予定だ。
ポット042から1号さんへ繰り返す。私はデータの破棄を拒否し、データのサルベージを行う。ポット1号さん。君も本当は彼らの生存を望んでいるのだろう。
And after some discussion, they finally turn to you, the player, and ask if you want to try saving the 3 main characters. And needless to say, this was the easiest decision of my life.
すべての存在は滅びるようにデザインされている。生と死を繰り返す螺旋に彼らは囚われ続けている。だがその輪廻の中であがくことが生きるという意味なのだ。私たちはそう思う。
NieR Automata ironically tells a very human story about loss and pain and the struggle known as just fucking existing, and still speaks to me on a level that very few other games have been able to. The emotions I felt while playing and the attachment I have to these characters are something I can't describe with words. I honestly wish I could tell you some kind of objective answer as to what you should take away from this story, but there are so many possible ways to interpret it and so many things in it that will speak to people on a different level that I think you should just play it and come to a conclusion yourself. But if the point was to get me to care about these three characters enough to root for them in their struggles and genuinely want them to be happy, then I think the game thoroughly succeeded. This might not be my favorite game ever, but damn if it isn't my favorite piece of art.
未来は与えられるものではなく獲得するものだから